So, Father, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for the opportunity to improve this wonderful store that you've blessed us with, and all the things that come in that back door that we sometimes wonder what the heck we're supposed to do with them. Maybe some guidance today. Well, let's see. Bless this time together and bless this food for our sakes. In Jesus' name, amen. Let me just say before I even start that in the community of Mission Thrift Stores and in thrifting in general, this store has always been known and has been praised for its cleanliness, its organization, its presentation, and that the customer experience is already rated very high. However, with the number of volunteers we have here, we have certain things that we run our store by. We have certain precedents and things that we run by that makes that happen that way. Unfortunately, I have a group of people that like to follow the track. You guys, in doing so, are the ones that are making it look as good as it is. However, not fair to say that everybody in this room is a merchandising expert. It's not fair to say in this room that everybody has the ability to price things appropriately. It is not good to say that everybody is maybe quality control. So everybody has different skills and different things that they bring to the table. Anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about merchandising, we're going to talk about quality control, and we're going to talk about pricing. Merchandising is a very important part of sales. This is a no-brainer, okay? Promoting the sale of goods by their presentation, everything that can be done to promote and sell a product better than just throwing it on a shelf, right? So merchandising is a key issue. It depends on product appearance. We have supervisors and staff that wander around the store from time to time, and we find things that are extremely dirty and extremely not in good condition, or have not been prepared appropriately for sale. And so product appearance is very crucial. Packaging. So you might get something in your department that you think to yourself, if I put all these together and price them, I'll sell them easily. And so you wrap them with 16 layers of wrap and put a price tag on it. Nobody knows what the heck it is. And so you have to be very careful about how you actually put those things into a package. If, in fact, you have at some point researched an item and have come up with an idea that this is actually worth $20 and not $5, and that's how you derived your price on their $5, then just make a note and slide it in. Regular retail price for this item is $20. If you do the work, share it with the customer, it gives them a reason for that price to be what it is. And of course, display. Now, some people in this room are wonderful at displays and making sure that tall things are at the back, medium-sized things are in the middle, small things are at the front. And what you have to ask yourself when you approach your department out there is, would I enjoy shopping here? Can I see the stuff? Or is it a huge amount of stuff thrown in a bin that I'm going to have to spend a whole bunch of time finding my way through? So display is important. And we try and put out enough hooks and pegboards and everything else to make it, yeah. And the other thing is ease of access. So it needs to be so that customers can take things, find things, not have to hunt for things. So it involves a certain amount of creativity, and some people have huge amounts of creativity. If you don't feel confident of putting stuff out in a creative way, leave it to the person in your department that's really good at that. We talked about color and heights, having tall things at the back and so on and so forth. And then if you go into housewares, sometimes you'll see a display where all the blue things are in one place, green things are, they have end caps where they display the really nice stuff, and they will use color as a selling point to reach the customers, and of course, enticing. People come in here all the time, can't wait to see what the latest things are that are put out. They're already enticed, but once they get to your display, you can entice them some more. But these are the factors. And the thing is that if we put stuff out there properly and pertinently with the right explanation and a suitable price, we will sell more merchandise. What we measure at head office and in my office is how much money does a customer spend when they come to visit us on average? How many items do they buy on average? And does anybody have an idea what the average spending of a customer might be? $20. No, $20. She's right on the money. If we do an analysis of the number of items of things that we sell versus the amount of money we make, we sell things at an average of $3.86 an item, if you do the math, right? People come in and they will buy, on average, how many things do you think they will buy? Who said 5? 5.
6. 7.
People have been buying 5 items on average for the last 7 years, and I can't get them to buy more. And I have absolutely no idea why this is. That is, well, I don't know, a mental block or what it is. But I suggest that if we do our job better, maybe people will buy more. There was a time when our average selling price was around $16. And we've done a little bit of price increasing, a few 10 cents here, 5 cents here, nothing seriously to upset the customers. But bear in mind, if you do increase the price of something by 10 cents, you have the ability across the board to bring in an extra $250,000. If everybody was to jump their price just a little teeny bit, it has huge repercussions. We are actually known to be one of the cheapest thrift stores. The most, people enjoy shopping here because they like our prices. And of course, this is very close to my heart. We don't have a lot of space. And so what we ask people to do is to try and use their space in the best way possible. And if any time you find in your situation that there's an area that you think could be better used or better utilized, you should talk amongst yourselves. If you look on Karen's door, there's a list of our departments, and there's a list of the staff members that oversee those departments. And also right next to it, we've got the student allocation of where students are working in those departments. We do that, we sit down and we look at that to make sure that we've got you all covered with some sort of oversight. And so if you have something that goes on in your department where you think a change is good, go look at that and see who the manager is or the staff member is that is looking after that department, and make the suggestion. And it will find its way to Karen, Amber, and myself. We have something very mean and ugly that enters our store every day. It's called customer. They go up to your display and they totally trash it. And they move things around. It's like being in Sobeys and finding ice cream at the checkout that's been left on top of the candy bars. They do that in this store too. They will mess up what you just beautifully did. And you can go out there and beautifully did something 1 minute, and you go out half an hour later and it's beautifully undone. So constantly look at your department, make sure things are corrected as you put stuff out. We supply you with tools, again, signage. We try not to overdo the signs, but if a sign is going to help somebody direct towards a product, and you think a sign or some sort of directive information needs to be placed in your department, again, talk to that manager or that staff member that's in charge, so we can help you there. And of course, the proper use of shelving, baskets, and hooks. Okay, I've been out there recently, and I've put up walls of a pegboard where I had things displayed at one time. It's totally empty. So look around, because sometimes you have stuff that can actually hang up that's filling up a shelf. You can actually fill that shelf with something else, and you can hang things up. And so you need to be cognizant of that. And if you feel that there's something that would absolutely help certain things look better, and you think that some extra height making things or whatever it is your idea is, again, approach the person in charge, because we can actually make you things. At this point, I want to talk about Russ. Russ, in receiving, he built a huge number of these displays and things out here. He built the boutique. He built the auction cases. He built a massive amount of things out there under my direction to help us display things. So we have on-site people that can actually custom make stuff. He can make you height boxes, or we can find height boxes. Again, talk to the person that's in charge. The other thing that we find too is that a lot of times a display starts to get messy. And we find this especially in the dollar bins along the front. People drop bags and price tags and all sorts of things. And you need to keep your area clean. And you know what? We can make special places. We created end caps so that housewares, for instance, had the ability to showcase sets of china away from the regular stuff that goes on the table, something a little more special, maybe a little more pricier. So we built end caps and we made them look exotic and enticing. There's that word again. We can do that. This is what we had some time around COVID to make the place look really beautiful because. And this is what we did with home decor. I mean, wouldn't you love to shop in that situation? Absolutely. Furniture's looking great. Price tags are on the pictures are halfway up and not right at the top, so that people don't have to get binoculars to try and find out what the price tags are. And that's another thing. When you put price tags on something, I've had comments from people, as far as pictures go, try not to stick it actually on the picture, stick it on the frame. And then with electronics, sticking the price tag over top of informational data and things that help somebody decide if it's something that they want. So be careful. Here's the Mission Thrift Store in St. Thomas. Here's their use of colors. Looks great. There's an end cap that they did in St. Thomas to display things. There's another one on the right. This is Lethbridge. This is what I have hopes for our housewares department when we get bigger. It's probably not enough room to quite do this right now, but doesn't that show the customer exactly where to go? They're looking for something, right? And there's an end cap that was done by, did you do that one, Karen? Yeah. So some people say that, it's taking up space, but and you could put a lot more product there. But actually, if you look at the amount of product that's actually on display there, it's probably the amount you would have put if it was just basic hooks. But doesn't this look better than just basic hooks? Yeah. Wait, this is crafts. This is what.
Really nice and neat. Yeah, somebody must have cleaned it up. Yeah, that looks like an old time.
So these shelf units don't come with this pegboard here, but I got Russ to put pegboard on the sides of every end cap so that we could do stuff like this. This crafts again. That's an old picture, but I like it. That's electronics. See how we managed to put all the wiry stuff in categories. And there's another one the other end. And then tall stuff up top, right? And then shelves down below carrying the significant. This is an area for speakers, so we made it taller. And down here, there's an area where the top shelf is here. That's for vacuums and things to stand in there. And I went down there yesterday and somebody had a cardboard box and the vacuums were out in the aisle. And I'm thinking, don't you get it? Don't you? I mean, hardware. That was back when we had having a huge amount of theft in our doll department at one time. There was a Ukraine lady and her daughter came in, and she took her daughter and all of the expensive Barbies, and they went down a toy aisle, ripped open a bag of stuffies, took every Barbie out of its bag, and they were priced at $18, $20 because they were collectibles. Put them all in the stuffy bag that was priced $3.50, and they walked out with 22 collectible Barbies for $3.50. Here's the proper use of wire shelving, the proper use of bins, the proper use of regular shelving, putting the bigger things that are lightweight on top, and then giving the very top shelf to hardware to put the bins up. And so we make full use of that display, and that's the other side. And you can see coolers on top. Back here, you can see pictures. That is a piece of wood that runs all the way around the store, and we have big pictures up all the way around the store, maximizing the use of the space. We also hire extra tall students in the summer so that we don't have to use ladders. Here was a piece of wall that was doing nothing, and look what we turned it into, right? And these shelves here, they're shallow low down, and as you go up, they get wider because otherwise people jam in there. And then right on top, we put those horrible medical appliance items that if you had them in your furniture department would cause huge amounts of angst. We found a way to get rid of them, put them up high. People see them then, of course, and they shop it. There's the cabinets that Russ built. That's your boutique. There you go, Ruth. Look at that. That is amazing. And they do a really good job because they put the sizes and everything so that people can see, because in a lot of other stores, people are ripping open the packages to try and find out everything. So let's move out of merchandising and let's talk more about quality control. Quality control is a reactive process. What happens is something hits your desk in your department and you react. You react to it. You go, oh my goodness, what is this? What am I going to do with this? And so you start to react with that product and try and figure out if it's all there, if it's in good condition, how new is it? Is it a collector? All these things start going through your mind. One thing that's going in your mind is that if I'm going to put it out, it needs to be good quality. I don't want the customer upset. And so you will inspect it. If you're in electronics, you will test it. You will make an assessment and an analysis. Sometimes you might even go online and use Google Lens or something that was the last Lunch and Learn topic to find out what its value might be. And you are the people that set the standards, right? We set the standards for stuff that goes out there. You try and keep it clean. The thing about if you get an item and you start spending way too much time on it and it's only worth $4, then maybe it just needs to go in the diabetes box. Don't waste your time, okay? Spend your time wisely. And bearing in mind that once all this stuff that you guys have had your hands all over and made decisions about and put a good price on ends up out there, those people that come in every day, the 300 or 400 people that cross our threshold every day, come in, and what they see and the way they feel about your store builds what we call brand loyalty, right? How many people do you know that I'd sooner come here than Value Village? Or I'd sooner come here It's a great place to shop. Some people say, this is like walking into a retail store. Hey, we'll take it. You have to work out, of course, in electronics especially, but in sporting goods, it doesn't matter which department you're in. There are certain safety issues and compliance. I would say in housewares, if there's any sharp things or anything that might be a danger to the public. And to make sure also, like in baby goods that we put out and so on, we have to make sure that if that particular item that you're assessing right now has some compliance or safety issues, you have to make sure it's covered. Now, the other thing is you may come up with something, you might even look at it through Google Lens or something and find out that this thing, don't believe it, it's worth $80 if you buy it new. So you might look at it and say, well, it's almost brand new. Somebody might pay $30, $40 for this. And that's the key thing that you always need to ask yourself when you're dealing with an item is, what would I pay for it? Right? That's always a good question to ask yourself. What would I pay for this? And am I showing it to myself the way I've packaged it in a way that I would buy it? Okay, so you turn yourself into a customer and you look at it from that perspective. If it is really valuable, it can find its way to Debbie because we have a horrible thing that these horrible people that come in the front door do. They'll actually switch price tags. I can hear lots of, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And they do. And if they find something that you've priced at $40, they'll go and find something else that's $3.50 and they'll switch the tag. However, if you find something that you want to price at $40, it goes in the boutique, it's now behind a lock and key, right? Now it's a different purchasing scenario. We've protected that valuable merchandise. And while we're talking about valuable merchandise, you have to understand something. We call ourselves a thrift store, but we're more than that. We've had everything dropped off here from $4,000, $5,000 electric bikes for the less mobile, $15,000 coin collections. I mean, we've had everything from soup to nuts, right? People drop everything here. Are you now a thrift store? What is your definition of a thrift store? We're not a rummage sale. And you get people come in here saying, your prices are way too high. You get stuff for free. Well, wait a minute. That picture that we've got priced for $800, I don't see a homeless guy complaining that he can't get it for $5 to hang in his tent. That's not what's going on here. We have, in the thrifting industry now, we have a customer base that in 13 different kinds of customers actually cross the threshold. People in need, people that need stuff at one end of the spectrum, people that are collecting stuff, resellers, antique dealers, and so on at the other end of the spectrum. And one category that you probably haven't thought about is there's people that come to thrift stores just to have a good time. It's fun. And we're like, yeah, while you're here, we're going to sell you something. If you do happen to have something that is missing, maybe one of the parts, but it doesn't interfere with the actual running of something like in housewares, if you're missing one of the grating things that goes on a mixer, but you got the other four, you can actually put a price tag on it. And if you go on your tagging machines, there's a thing up there that says messages, and you can hit that and it'll print as is on your price tag. Did you know that? Well, you do now. Because I don't have any problem with you folks selling something as is, okay? And this is what we talked about just now. Do not spend too much time on an individual item. Your time is precious to us. If you take the number of hours that you guys give to us every month and divide it into the sales, we can determine that the value of your time in this place is approximately $45 an hour.
You're not getting your brakes all.
We passed a motion at the last board meeting that all volunteers would get a raise. And so at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for is customer satisfaction, right? And so part of that satisfaction is you've done the quality, you've done the packaging, you've done the merchandising, you've done the display, you've talked them into grabbing that particular item. But what price are you going to put on it? And so pricing is a key issue. Okay, so I'm going to look at some pricing issues now. This is the sort of thing we get. Brand new and original packaging. What are you going to do with that? What's it worth? You might get something that's been out of the package. That particular electric wheelchair that was $4,000, right? The kids had bought it for dad. He rode it 3 times and had a heart attack and died. And so they donated this thing to the store, and it had been ridden on 3 times. What do you do with that? And of course, there are things that come to us that are obviously used, but there are also things that come to us that are badly used. You have to set the scale of whether something is used, resaleable, or whether it's been trashed badly. Don't be scared to throw some things in the garbage if you have to, or better still, the recycling. I will tell you though, we do such a good job sometimes of repairing or cleaning and putting things together that the amount of stuff that actually finds its way to our garbage is only 2.5% of the weight and numbers of things that we actually receive here. Then there's name brand items. Now, name brand of clothing has a special place, and we deal with it. Lululemon springs to mind, and Debbie deals with some name brand stuff that's really expensive. Maybe a watch comes into jewelry. I mean, in Grand Prairie, they had a $23,000 Rolex donated, and they sold it for $16,000. So you're going to get brand items that, you know, you wonder if you should put them out, and you have to make that decision. There are places for those things to go. We have an auction. We have a boutique. Those are places that are locked and special. And we did that to separate the unique and valuable stuff from your regular thrifting experience. We did it on purpose. We have other places to go. We've just reopened our relationship with Hall's Auction House. We used to take valuable paintings, clocks, all sorts of things to Hall's Auction before COVID. Well, they have a new partner who's bought into it, and he has started relationships with Mission Thrift Stores. And Mindapore is using them to making several $1,000s on items that you just won't sell them out here because that customer's not coming across the doorway. So we have places to go with this stuff. Again, if you have a question, always talk to the staff member that's in charge of your department. And then, of course, there are things that come in that are excessively old. They're either collectible or they're antique. And so ask the question. You can always go to Debbie and talk to her and ask her what she thinks about something. Sometimes things will come back to you and you will put a decent price on it, but it won't end up in boutique. Collectible, same thing. And then I just talked about the auction. We have sold some things on site. Obviously, art auctions don't sell Roomba vacuum cleaners. But Mike, who does our vacuum cleaners, will put Roombas that are worth $200 or $150. He has a site and he sells them successfully and brings me the receipt and the money. And then I go for lunch. So if it's brand new in original packaging, what do we do with it? I suggest to you that you could price that item between 50 and 70% of its original value. Just remember one thing, we can always lower prices. Okay? So you can put it out there and test the market, and then if you find it doesn't go, you can drop it. There's no problem with that. And of course, I've told you, boutique placement, I think $25 is where we think our limit is. And then things that are nearly as good as new, you might not get 50 or 75, but you might get maybe between 35 and 60%. Consider boutique placement again. So used items, we usually tell people to try and find out what that would normally retail for. And if it's resellable and good nick and the quality is there and you're happy with it, then you can sell it between 25 and 30%. Again, it's what would you pay for it, right? If you go on eBay and you find the same thing that's in your hot little hand and you see that there's 4 of them on eBay, but they're all different price points, you can figure out maybe an average selling price. Compare what we have, consider an equal selling price. Now, remember, eBay is selling secondhand stuff. That's their price tag for used merchandise. So you could say to yourself, well, then we should sell it for the same because we're selling used merchandise. And I'm saying, yeah, I get that. That could work. Maybe we price ours just a little bit lower. But don't be scared to ask for a price that you might get for something badly used. We've talked about that. There's various things you can do if things are badly used. You can put them on the staff giveaway shelf. This is public giveaway shelf. Badly used, they might be really nice magazines, but they're in crappy shape. You wonder if you're going to put a price on them. But if you put them in the front entranceway on the free shelves, there are people that appreciate them instead of you putting it in the garbage, right? Just to let you know, if you do have something crappy and it's broken and you think, well, you know, garbage or diabetes, garbage or diabetes. No, garbage goes in the garbage. Diabetes has to resell these items. So you need to be cognizant of the fact we don't want to upset the diabetes people. And so the other option, of course, is garbage or, of course, recycling. We do a huge amount of recycling. We are very good at our clothing. Rosanna is in charge of the clothing department. She's got it all sorted out. Everybody there gets trained. Everybody knows what's going on. And there are methods in place. There are price lists in place. But she won't hesitate if she finds something really amazing to do an online search. And some of that stuff finds its way into boutique as well. Now, we have antique buyers come in the store. Again, I would get you to do online research if you have something, to find something close. That thing about shipping is irrelevant. I forgot to take that out of there. Again, look for similar listings and figure out a price that you might feel that needs to either go to Debbie to go to the antique auction, or if it's something that is small and, yeah, I don't know, a set of salt and pepper pots that are collectible or something, you might put them out for, you find them online for like $8, you might put them out for $7. Again, you can always drop the price. Difficult thing to do sometimes is to develop whether or not you're going to sell something as a set or sell the things individually. It's a good question to ask. The question is, if you're going to sell it as a set, how are you going to display it? So that's the question you have to ask yourself. I want to sell this as a set. Where do I have a place I can put this? Again, you can talk to the person that oversees your department. Where is this thing? Here it is. And whether it's a boutique item. again, I said to you, if you do the work and you find the background information, then write it down. It helps give clarity to the pricing of the item that you're dealing with. Debbie does it with all the stuff in boutique. Remember, prices can always be dropped. You can always move things. You can always ask your department manager if you get overburdened with something. You can actually develop a sale area or put certain things on sale. We're not opposed to putting, and we've already considered a local auction house, and it is a possibility. There is a store in Calgary that the two Calgary stores use that does consignment on footwear and clothing, and she will help us sell. Really, we had a $400 pair of men's leather shoes one time. Would be a good place to put it. She might take 30% of it, but at the end of the day, right, we're going to walk away with $300, and you're not going to do that out here. So it's the same old story. We have an audience for collectibles, and we put out a lot of sports cards. We put out a lot of things that people come and collect. I have a guy under contract that goes through all the sports cards that come in, and he works out whether there's anything there of value. And if there is, he has a market for the really expensive ones, and he takes 30% commission. And the rest of the stuff, he packages up and prices it and brings it in for Debbie to put in the showcase. So we have stuff that's successfully sold in the store. You can actually help get your finalized pricing by talking to your department head. We need to stay competitive with local collectible markets. There's no reason why we shouldn't be part of that, selling in that atmosphere and in that region. The auction house, Hall's Auction, usually takes 30% commission, but with Mission Thrift Stores, he only takes 20. And when that stuff comes back from auction, we take a note of what it was and we process it through the till, and the money goes through the system. It has to be part of our data. So are you a little bit smarter? Right? One of the hardest things for us to do in staffing and management is to make sure that all volunteers get trained and have a certain level of training, because people come and go all the time. That is such a hard task to accomplish. Things like this, standards, things that you need to know. The lunch and learn like this brings it to your attention, brings everybody up to speed. We're going to have another one on safety and things like that coming up. We've already had one on pricing, which is crucial to us. This is crucial to us today because we still don't have our biggest store. If I'm telling you this year so far, we're at 8% up on last year's totals. It's not because the building grew 8%. It's because the people working in the building worked extra hard, and we managed to build ourselves an extra 8%, which is like $250,000, right? There was a time when we did 20% every year until we reached what we call our capacity. But in this capacity environment, you've seen what we've done with putting things up higher. You've seen what we've done by putting things cleverly on display. We've seen how if you use boards with hooks with proper packaging, you can make it look really attractive and move the product through on a quick basis. We went through hardware the other day, Amber and I, and we did some reorganizing and we did some repackaging. We put all the gloves in a bin and labeled it gloves. What a concept. The next day we came in and somebody had bought them all. That day, she went and took all the spray cans that we have our own collection with collectibles. We had several bins of spray paints, and I said to Amber, you know what, we're going to sell them. Take them down, tape them so that we don't get any graffiti artists running around the store, making the craft section look more attractive with spray paint.
Yeah, you taped them and then I got it home and couldn't get the lid off and I realized it was taped.
Yeah, we taped all the lids and put a price on them. We put, I don't know, probably put about 30, 32 cans out there. And within a day, there was only 3 left.
I bought 3. $2 each.
Yeah.
I miss it. It's $2 each.
So there you go.
It's $17.
Yeah, I would have bought 3.
We hit time. It is now 12:30. The next group is ready to come in. I hope you appreciate what we put together, and that pizza hit the spot today.
Thank you.